Hi, everybody. I'm Kristen, and welcome to the intro, the Kristpattern, the crochet edition. I'm here with this video to let you know what you need to get started with crocheting. So I've been crocheting since I was young, but I did it off and on. And about 2 years ago, I went to a library meetup here in DC where I live, and I came in there with the supplies that I'm going to show you that you need and a little bit of patience. And a few years later, here I am helping you get started with crochet. So, what do you need? First things first, you grab some supplies. Number one, the crochet hook. So, I would just go ahead and invest in the best set of hooks that you can find. If you find that the crochet hobby is not your thing, have no fear. You can always put these on any one of your favorite marketplaces. Or there's this lovely site called Ravelry where a lot of us hang out, and there's a huge resale giveaway area there. So, of course, this and notice that there are different types of hooks. Now, for me, I have issues with my hands, and this is something that I do not just for fun, but also to supplement and help with my own carbon footprint, etc. So I want to be comfortable. So hook is what I start with. These are the boy ergonomics. You can get these at any craft store, but there are also some other lovely artisanal furls is another favorite for folks who really stitch. So start with your hook. Next thing, obviously your yarn. So we'll go into more detail in subsequent videos on yarn, but for now, just get yarn. And when you're getting started, let me bring up my handy dandy hook here. So this is probably as small and as dark as you will want to start if you're just getting started, because you're going to want to. And I would also, if you really look hard at this yarn, if you really start working with it, you probably don't want to start with a yarn like this, but I just want you to get in the habit of getting used to the absolute things you have to have so you can think about budgeting. So basically, you will want, this is an H size hook, 5 millimeters. I know some of you may be watching in other places, so you may many people measure their hook size by the numbers. Others measure it here in the States by the letter. So you'll hear me say H hook or 5 millimeter. You probably hear me say the letter more often, but I know that there are other sizes. So, but getting started, you want to maybe use an L hook, which is what I started on. I started on L hook and number 5 or number 6 bulky fabric. And I did it in a light color. And we'll do that as we get deep into getting started. But for now, I just want you to get your supplies together. So yarn, hook. And these are some, honestly, it's good to get started with all the tools that you can use because as I said before, this is an art form that takes a little patience, and I don't want you to get discouraged because the thing that you want to create is not working. You hear a little rattling here. It's because my handy dandy stitch markers. Now, the ladies at the library told me. Now you can. I actually started with the. I taught myself the crochet book that you can find at several craft stores. Boy makes that book. They include some stitch markers, but you're going to want to upgrade to at the very least, these particular stitch markers that they make. And apologies, I don't have this flipped here, but this is what they look like. And they latch and they're removable. And there's a particular pattern in our basic set of patterns that you're going to want to use these with. So go ahead and grab those boys stitch markers. You can use any scissors you want. This isn't like cutting thicker fabric. Those of you who may be adopting this from sewing, big time sewing, as my mom is a big time sewer, so I've been skilled in that in the basics. But you do want something. Now, a lot of us end up getting these nice little embroidery size scissors just because, you're just cutting yarn. You don't necessarily need your big flat yarn cutting. You just want to make sure that one, they are sharp enough, and you do want to be mindful of having this around folks who may be sensitive and may not be able to discern whether or not something is sharp. And some people will say you need your tapestry needle. These also came in the boy kit, but I personally weave my ends in with my fingers, but you may find it easier. Also, some of these patterns that you may find require you to sew things together. So go ahead and grab one. It will come in any starter kit that you pick up. Just like any starter kit will have the hooks that don't have the extra handle, but I would say go ahead and spring for those hooks, as I've said many times in this introduction video. And finally, I tend to be what I like to call, or like some may call, a self drafter. And so my tape measure is my best friend. So give a shout out here. This is one of my local yarn shops, Fiberspace, which, by the way, is another thing that's nice to have. Of course, you probably were roaming the aisles of your favorite big box store that has a yarn section, decided to pick up a thing of yarn, something like this. And this is great. Use it, get started, but we'll talk about what you will want to use this with long term in the how to use the yarn video. Because after all, the other thing you'll need is a little patience, because it will take a while for this to turn into something like this. In fact, I've been actually working on this particular thing for a little while, but other projects will work up easier, and I look forward to having you. Feel free, if you haven't already, follow me. If you just found this video on one of the video sites, go ahead and subscribe. Also follow me at Kristpattern. On Ravelry there. I'm also on Instagram at Kristpattern, and I'm on other places at Kristpattern. And you can find this video and other helpful things. And I will see you in our next instructional video. Welcome to Crochet, folks.